Alright everyone, what is up? This is Stuart98 and welcome back to another AirMech 1v1 cast. I live-spec'd this game about 20 minutes ago, and I did not see who ended, because it was just too good of a game, so I needed to be able to cast it with some... with... well, not no idea, but without knowledge of how it ends, so... Um, okay, let's do this. So this is between the green player on the on the top, nukebust in a Kira Osprey. Kira Osprey used to be the standard for Osprey play. Nukebust going down there, falling out of favor now because it gives a damage debuff. And Nukebust's opponent is the blue player on the bottom, Overkill2142 in a Natasha Warthog. Warthog, a mech that's kind of unpopular right now. I'm not entirely sure why. A Warthog player called Shizmill beat me pretty handily earlier today. Although that was on... I think that was on Crater, so... there can be weird stuff going on there. Anyway, so... Overkill getting some harass on these moneymakers, taking down 3 of them, is now going to retreat. Upkeep-wise, Overkill has the on-paper advantage. However, Nukebust does have about, what, like 5 tanks worth, so 10 potential upkeep. So I'd say that Nukebust is ahead here in terms of the upkeep potential. Total upkeep, if you will. Okay. What did they spend it on? Huh. Would have thought... whatevs. Okay. So... oh, it's Overkill, getting ahead by spamming a bunch of Sams. Overkill moving these tanks forward and doing a T-push into Nukebust's close outpost. We'll see how that goes. Overkill going back to do I don't know what. Meanwhile, these tanks are here and, well, the ratchets are dying, as they always do. And uh-oh. This... Overkill, I feel, has more tanks here. However, Overkill's not doing any distract because there's too many flackers. Nukebust is here. There's no anti-air to kill Nukebust. Nukebust is able to distract. There's Buckies that were getting damage against tank backsides. So that push has failed. However, upkeep-wise, it hasn't been that favorable for either player. Overkill, in the meantime, grabbing the lockbox. Grabbing both of them, in fact. It seems like a lot of players don't really use the lockboxes when they should, myself included. Nukebust getting the salvage on those tanks there. Kira does, I believe, boost salvage. Plus 30% salvage income bonus. So, that's another component of Kira. So, it's a mixed bag for Osprey. And it's a bad bag. It's a bad bag for another mech. Yeah, that's what I don't like about Kira. They're basically an Osprey-only pilot right now. And that's... undesirable. On there. Okay. And bombs away. That is a lot of dead Zams. Nukebust putting down some flackers to try and take out Overkill. Don't think it's going to work. Overkill should be able to get away there. However, they have lost the rest of their tanks. It's now 29-21. Overkill's got a random tangle there. I think they're using that for vision. I do that myself on maps like Crater and Duel. Mainly Crater, really. Overkill doing some more harass on these moneymakers. And now engaging the Patchers. Taking out one, but Patchers are only 2,200 credits apiece, so... Now, recycling that lockbox, nukebust grabbing a lockbox of their own. Overkill taking out the neutrals for some XP. Nukebust flying overhead. Oh, yeah, that's right. Nukebust is salvaging these neutrals that Overkill's killing, which is kind of silly. It's teamwork when they're not teamed, so that's the thing. And Overkill not doing nothing to dissuade Nukebust from doing that. Kind of silly, just a wee bit. Just a wee bit silly. Now doing the same thing on this side. There is still that Goliath on this side. The other side doesn't have that. Overkill now coming out with a Bertha. And Bertha, I'm kind of mixed about this unit in 1v1. In 2v2, Bertha, you need to have a Bertha on your team. But in a 1v1, I kind of feel like when you bring a Bertha, what you're doing is you're making it so that your opponent is just going to push out. And that's a lot of units. Yeah. They're either going to push out or they're going to build their own Berthas, and then it just becomes a big artillery war where everyone loses because it's not Archies anymore, it's Berthas. It's freaking Berthas, and Berthas kill everything. So Overkill now has this huge push coming to their fort. Overkill themselves has sent this force. Nukebust is bombing it, curiously. Kind of a unit that you don't see very often. However, look at all this fire coming in on Overkill's fort. They're building SAMs. SAMs, very high damage units against these tanks. Not quite as good against tanks. Next patch. This is one of the few cases where I'm seeing SAMs used in a way where next patch they'll be weaker. In most cases they'll be stronger, but against tanks, no. Anyway, Overkill's down to about, like, 10% fort health. You do not want to be Overkill right now. You would... Like, really. However, Overkill does now have over a 20 plus upkeep advantage over Nukebust. So... And they also have control of the middle outpost. Nukebust managing to make off with that lockbox there. Overkill trying to get some harass in. Might take out that moneymaker. No, will not be able to take it out. Retreating back, and they're building a booster. And this is kind of a curious thing, because I used a booster yesterday, and I found it kind of useless, so it's a curious thing that they're using it right now, I have to say. But they are, so. Sending out a random tango. Go on there. Okay. Random tango doing nothing. Their advantage has gone down. It's gone from like 47 to 16 to 58-39. So advantage, but decreasing advantage. And here's Nukebust with another drop. This is taking Overkill down to about 5%. 5% fort health. It will only take a couple more of those for them to be finished. Nukebust does manage to get away, though they lose all three of the tanks involved in that drop, and now Overkill is remaking their fort path so that it covers the entirety of the fort, and deploying a bunch of tangos, because that's what they do. Nukebust now coming in with yet another drop. Overkill does see them on radar and will be there to intercept. It's a drop of bombs this time. Nukebust using those bombs to try and take out all these SAMs. Overkill responding by spacing out the SAMs and tangos a bit more. Nukebust has some brutes here. High health infantry. I feel like a week ago I would have called them underused, but for some reason I've started to see them a lot more. Maybe I just don't play enough 1v1s, and they were never underused at all. Overkill has come out with a Bertha, and Nukebust responding by doing a push out. Upkeep wise, Overkill has about a 30 upkeep advantage over Nukebust. That Bertha has actually not gone down yet, but it's about to. Wait for it, there it goes. Anyway, so Overkill has a disadvantage here, tank-wise. They also don't have any anti-air, whereas Nukebust does. Although, well, they still do. They still have a couple anti-airs. Yeah, so 20 upkeep advantage now. However, Overkill has more credits in the bank, so it'll be easier for Overkill to rebuild their forces, which they have done, pushing it back up to a 20 upkeep advantage. And now engaging Nukebust's units should be able to take care of most of them with little trouble. However, Nukebust is dropping the Seekers to try and get the kill. Now recycling yet another wave of block boxes. Did they already recycle that side? No. Nukebust taking this time to heal and salvage, because that's what you do when you're a Kira Osprey. Any Osprey, but Kira especially. Wait, this Kira is a better Hawk. Oh my. Minus unit. Okay. Nukebust now pushing into Overkill's outpost. Overkill does have these goalies here, but the outpost will be able to be neutralized without the goalies doing anything. Overkill moving the back. In the meantime, Nukebust dropping 3 more Longhorns, taking Overkill down to about 2% fort health. 2%! Which is kinda silly. In the meantime, they've got all these units here. Overkill should be able to kill them all with his Warthog and with all these goalies and SAMs. That goalie's going to go down. Dead goalie. Nukebust expending all of their heal capacity. Oh, Overkill going down there. I feel like Overkill will come out on top here because Nukebust doesn't have the numbers to be able to do this. They've only got 2 remaining Longhorn. Oh, and they go down there after picking up all the remaining stuff. Overkill now has, it's 57 to 19 now. 57 to 15 now. Well, 54, 56, 55, 13. It's a number! Okay, brutes being killed. Overkill now has an upkeep capacity up to 73, and they've got about 10 upkeep worth of stuff in the bank, ready to be built. They do need to secure that middle outpost now, which they are now doing with that T-push. And they are now pushing out with an army of SAMs, because that's what Overkill does. They love their SAMs. Yeah, I'll be in a tournament with Overkill on the 21st, by the way, which you should totally sign up to. I'll put the link for that in the description. Nukebust. Yeah, so these goalies are here. They're getting distracted by that Longhorn back there, which is allowing them to take more fire than Overkill wants. However, Overkill is running with a booster Warthog. A SAM taking out Nukebust there. Booster Warthog is kind of a micro-mech, which is a little silly, but it is what it is. That goalie's almost going to go down. Overkill won't be able to heal it much because that factory is basically depleted, and it is a factory. Like, power stations are the only outposts good for healing units, I feel. Also interesting is that there's no longer an info box for factories. There's only one for power stations, which is a little weird. Nukebust now dropping some Buckies, and they were intending to use the scatter shot against them firing at the tangos to finish off the fort, which has prompted Overkill to draw yet another looping V-path and make a few more tangos. Tango's a good Bucky killer. They're also speedy and cheap, so... But the plan's not really to kill the Buckies, I feel. Anyway, so that's taken Overkill down to about 1.5%. If I'm Overkill right now, I am so worried. But it's 71-25, so... It's... Of course, Overkill doesn't know the exact numbers. Nukebust now dropping the bomb. And that's done another, like, 0.1% to the fort. This is a crazy game. Overkill now trying to get the kill on those Seekers with his Warthog air-to-ground. However, Seeker's too high health for that to be a thing. Nukebust now coming in with bombs, but Overkill takes them down before they can drop them. Overkill dropping a Goliath, which will be able to take out that Longhorn. Okay. Overkill building another goalie, preparing to push out, I think, and take that outpost. And recycling a lockbox. They're now at 46,000. So they're... Oh! Nukebust flying in, trying to tickle cannon some stuff to death, however failing. And Overkill now pushing out with these units. I'm not sure if they're on T or on Y. Nukebust now flying in with a Brute and 2 Longhorn. Dropping them all here, which is a little weird. In the meantime, Overkill has dropped this Goliath, which is able to get a few points in against that fortress. Yeah. I feel like Nukebust should have dropped them, like, anywhere, but they should have dropped them on Y, closer to the fortress. They need to close this game out fast, because it is 81-34. That goalie has gone down, but in the meantime, Overkill has pushed out on T with all these goalies, and there is no way that Nukebust has the numbers to keep control of this outpost. Yeah, all of this is going to die. In the meantime, here's Nukebust trying to get away and failing, but they dropped some brutes, so okay. Overkill now taking a 92-22 advantage over Nukebust. So that's a 70 upkeep advantage. Nukebust deploying some brutes. Overkill trying to focus fire them over the fortress. You will never see a mech that isn't Warthog do this, because it's silly. Like, that's... How else can I say it? Nukebust flying in. Overkill has spotted them, though. They are flying back out of there. Overkill flying circles over everything because he can. Overkill is pushing out with this force. It looks to be on T. If it were on Y, it would be up against like 7 Longhorns, which it could kill. However, there's no AA there. In fact, Overkill doesn't have any AA in his loadout. The only thing he has is SAMs for anti-air. And I guess maybe Tangos? Overkill finishing off nukebust again. They did drop these 3 brutes, however those brutes are going to die. You notice that Overkill is not landing here. He's been not landing for a lot of the game because he has that booster on him. So if you land with booster, it flies off of you, which means that you lose 3,000 credits, which is probably the biggest reason why you don't see booster very often. Like, Warthog and maybe Bomber are the only mechs that can do, well, and Osprey. Oh, Nukebust is here with the Tickle Cannon, Hero Osprey. I feel like there's less than 1% of fort health remaining. That's insane. That's how Overkill now drawing a tighter path and deploying more tangos. However, Overkill is now pushing out with all of this stuff on Y. Look at this. So much damage going in against the fort. Nukebust going to be flying out to try and hero Osprey. Will they be able to do so before it's too late? No, I don't think they will. No! But no, they're there. But they died. And wow. Overkill is the winner of this ridiculously close game on Duel. Spectated by me, sent in by me, if you will. This has been Stuart98. What an awesome game. Shout out to Overkill. Show up for Saturday's tournament. This has been Stuart98 PCing out. See ya.